Hello and welcome each and every one of you. With you today is me, Daiga, multilinguistic international coach therapist from DCTcentre, and joining me again is Morganne Rayne, Adept, visionary spiritual guide, ceremonialist, artist, and much, much more. Hello, Morganne.
Hey, good morning from the Pacific Northwest. It's an exquisite day out there today. Lots of sun. My grapes are just hanging from the arbor. It's so beautiful. The tomatoes are ripening. I'm eating cucumbers galore and squash. And it's just I love this time of year when I'm harvesting the fruits of my labor, which will kind of lead me into what we're going to talk about today, because I'm harvesting fruits of labor that I planted. Like, I made a plan about what I wanted. I decided what I wanted. I made a plan on how I was going to do that. I knew what I needed to nurture it. And today I'm enjoying beautiful, sweet cucumbers and healthy, gorgeous squash and grapes and beans and tomatoes. I mean, it's just everywhere. So I want to equate that to prayer, because yesterday morning I woke up and the first thing I heard was teach them how to pray. And I go, okay. Now, that's not a new thing for me, because for about 20 years, that's exactly what I did. I taught prayer. I taught spiritual practices and I taught prayer for a long time, and taught people how to get into a consciousness to be in the prayer. So when I talk about my garden and I talk about the seeds are like your seed thought, the thought that you have. And when we decide we want carrots, what kind of seeds do you think I'm going to plant?
I think you will plant carrot seeds.
Yep. And if I want beans, what kind of seeds am I going to plant?
Beans.
Right. Now, could I get beans if I planted zucchini seeds?
Not happening.
Not happening. Yet people have thoughts all the time that of things that they want, but their primary thought is, I don't think I can have that, or I don't deserve that. So the seed that they're planting is a dead seed, not a good seed, or it's even the wrong seed, and they're expecting something different from what they planted. Now, planting seeds and thoughts.
Excuse me, 1 minute, I want to jump in. I find with my clients and my own life, before I learn many things, I find people concentrating and trying to manifest what they don't want. Oh, I never ever want to get together with the alcoholic, let's say. Or I never want to be sick, or I never want to die in some very bad death or painful death, all the time is what they don't want.
Exactly. Now, you can use what you don't want to clear away and come into alignment with what you truly do want. So it can be helpful to know what you don't want. But if you just stay there, you're planting, I don't want seeds. I don't want. And the universe, it just responds to you. It's benign in that way. It's not going to say, oh, she really meant she wanted, a healthy relationship. No, it doesn't do that. It's up to us to make that decision, and we become the attractors of that. They talk about the law of attraction. Well, you can look at your life and you can see what you've been thinking about and how you are feeling just by the results that are in your life. So say you're one of the listeners might be in a situation where they're not making enough money. We'll just go there, right? That truly is a belief in lack. That's a belief in there's not enough. Or it could be there's a belief that I don't deserve, or I'm destined to be poor, or my family was poor. There's no shame in being poor. Believe me, in all the 30 some years I've been doing consciousness work, I've heard it all, how people hold that consciousness of not enoughness. And when your consciousness is out of that, those are the seeds you're planting into the world and into the universe. So when we're talking about prayer, I'll tell you a story about praying for rain or praying rain. So there's a story that Greg Braden talks about from a native man he knew, where in the desert, where he lives in the high desert in New Mexico, rain can sometimes be scarce, right? And there was this one year where it was just not raining and the crops weren't doing well and they really needed rain. So the natives went up to this flat rock plateau, and they were going there to pray, and they needed rain. So they went up there and they began dancing, and they're dancing as though it's raining, and they're dancing and they're feeling the rain, and they're dancing and they're having this wonderful experience of gratitude for the rainfall. And even though in the outer look of it was not raining, but they moved into, oh yes, it's raining and it's pouring and our crops are drenched, and all is well. Well, guess what happens? Here comes a drop, here comes another drop, here comes another drop. It starts to rain. Now, had they been praying for rain rather than praying rain, they were in the consciousness of it's raining. There's plenty of rain. There's more than enough rain. So they're already in the plentifulness of rain. They're not in, oh my God, we better go pray for rain because we don't have any rain. The crops are dying. See, those are two different ways to look at it. And you can pray for something, but if you haven't moved your consciousness into what it is you really want, you're going to be praying for what you want. Now, when you want something, you're always going to want it. When you pray, it's already here. You already have it. It already exists. It already is. So the work that I teach is getting into that consciousness of what you truly do want. So if you want rain, pray rain. Go out and rejoice and feel the wetness and dance and feel it on you, because we've been given that ability, and then rain will come. Same thing with money, with friendships, with relationships, with whatever it is that your heart is desiring, or what you find you have a need for. Now, when you have a need for something, you have to look at that whole consciousness. That's like wanting. I need, I want, I need, I want. So when you're in that consciousness, it just means, oh, I don't have it. It's not here. I want it, but it's not here for me. So when we change that, when we get rid of I need, I want, and we move into pray rain or pray cash or pray clients or whatever, it changes the whole dynamic of your experience with that consciousness of prayer. Any questions so far?
No, I don't think so. I quite understand. You need you need to actually imagine this moment. You need already imagine how it would be if this happened.
Yeah,
For rain,
exactly.
for money, for...
Because the truth is, it already exists. Does rain exist?
Of course it does.
Does money exist?
Of course it does.
Does love exist?
Of course.
Right. We know it already exists. What's in the way between you and it is the belief system, the consciousness. That's what's in the way between you and it. The need is in the way. The want is in the way. I remember, like, I think it was the first show we ever did together was I did the crucifixion prayer. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Right. And one of the things that we did, we released whatever it is that we didn't want. So I released poverty, right? Or I release not enoughness, or whatever you want to release. But the second one was I release the need. I release the need. And you see, and then you're open and vulnerable. So when you have released that, then you're open to receive. But if you still have those needs and the I don't have right there, you're blocked, you're closed, and you're getting exactly what you believe and what you're affirming in your life. So why pray? That's a great question. Even though I asked it myself, why pray? So pray is because we usually we want something, we need something, and we're asking for something, right? So the why we pray is because I ask, I need, I want. Okay. So when do you pray? Pray in those times, but be willing to change and switch your consciousness out of, oh, I'm not receiving money, so therefore I must have a block or a belief about not having it. So let me work on that. Let me pray on that. Let me pray for the willingness to release that block, or pray for change of consciousness. So work at these things in layers if the result we want is not showing up in our life. Okay, where do you pray? Anywhere, everywhere. I pray in my car. I pray out in the forest. I pray out in the meadow. I pray in this chair. I pray because it is me having a conversation with the divine. So I'm not always praying to get something. I'm praying to align myself. Does that make sense? I pray to align myself.
I don't know about praying as such, because what I'm doing usually in a car, walking somewhere, doing something at home, doesn't matter. So even if I'm at work and doing something at work where I don't need use particularly brains or counting something, I always like speak to divine. I'm saying sort of affirmations, saying thank you for whatever, thank you for my wonderful, beautiful life. Yeah. Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm healthy, wealthy, happy, and blessed. Yeah. I constantly like chattering away. I don't think I would call pray, but I'm more like chatting with divine, talking with divine, saying gratitude to divine. So that's my way.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Well, for me, gratitude is the highest form of prayer. It's the highest form of prayer, because when you're in gratitude, you're there, you're experiencing it. I'm so grateful. Even if you don't actually have it tangible in the third dimensional realm, You know it exists, so you're grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, I'm, all of that. You come into alignment with that, and then that is a resonance field, and then it can come into your life in the third dimensional realm. And you can also be grateful for it to be in the third dimensional realm, and you get to experience it. So, but we're going to get in more into that in just a little bit. Okay, so what do you pray for? Well, you can pray for anything, but better as we talk about this, you pray as if it's already done rather than pray for something to happen. But pray for anything you want, and be willing to pray for the change of consciousness if you do not have it. One of the phrases that I love, and when I was working heavily with teaching prayer clients, I would say, may you speak life over your life starting now. May you speak life over your life starting now. So what does that mean? When you're speaking life into something, you're giving that gratitude for it. You're giving it energy. You're contemplating it. You're getting excited about it. So what's the opposite of speaking life into it? Is speaking death into it. And that would be when people are complaining, or they're regretting, or they're dwelling on the past, or they're resigned to, oh, it's never going to change. All of that is speaking death to what your heart desire is. So when I say, may you speak life over your life starting right now, begin to become very aware about your words. When you use your words are like casting a spell. You hear that? Words are like casting a spell. And when we have a deep emotion that's coupled with it, like there's not enough, but you also are feeling anxious and scared and angry, or whatever those lower frequencies are, coupled with that, that's exactly what you get. The universe just says, and so it is, right? So, but when we're speaking life into something, we're praising it, we're giving thanks for it, we're acknowledging it. And when we see someone that has what we want, we get excited for them, we bless them, and we give thanks that they have. So you are just setting up yourself to be this resonance and attractor for what it is you're. I'm going to give you a really wonderful story about. It's been a long time. Maybe 25 years ago, something like that. I found myself in a situation where I was in a beautiful apartment, but something had happened within the neighborhood that made me uncomfortable, because I was still raising two children. And I had a friend who lived on a plateau, which was very beautiful, $1 million homes, just wealth. And she was actually one of my clients. And she invited me to come over to her home and work with her, and just kind of hang out. And afterwards we had lunch together. And I remember sitting there and looking out at her view, looking at her beautiful home. And I was thinking, this is good. Look what she's created. This is so beautiful. And it's like this energy started welling up and compounding inside of me. And I was so grateful that she had created that. And I was happy for her. And about 4 months later, she called me up. She said she and her husband had decided to buy a home on an island. There's lots of islands around here. And she wanted to know if I would like to live in her home.
Wow.
At that time, I had my mother and my daughter and my son with me, and she goes, I can't think of anyone else I would love to have in my home more than you. And on top of that, she said, and why don't you just pay me what you pay for your rent where you're living? So I moved into a multi-million-dollar, gorgeous mansion where my bedroom was the size of my whole apartment right now, which I love where I live, by the way. But you see how it was? Like I grew into alignment. I wasn't resentful about what she had. I was joyous about it. And that led me to be in alignment. And I lived there for many years, enjoying that space until my children were no longer there. My mother was no longer with me, and I was all alone in this humongous house. And I just go, this is just too much for me. Beautiful, but it was time for me to change. And when I did, I've got exactly what I had there, but a scaled down version of it. I have exquisite view. I have a beautiful apartment. I have beautiful people surround. It's just a scaled down version of what I created before. I didn't need huge and massive. I got exactly what my heart desired, was to have beautiful view, comfortable place. I got everything I wanted. So I tell that story because I wasn't focusing on what I didn't have. I was focusing on how magnificent her life was, and I was so grateful for it. So I got right in alignment with her. I was in the flow. Okay. So when we are in the process of doing a prayer, before we do we're going to get to praying in a little while, but sometimes clearing out is the most important thing to do. So if you have problems that are in the way, like a belief system, begin at once to go, oh, that's just like an old belief system. I'm going to clear that away. In the scriptures, it talks about command the mountain to be moved and it shall be moved, right? Command the mountain to be moved and it shall be moved. Well, how many of you can believe you could do that? What you can do is command your old stinking thinking, your old belief systems, your ancestral lineage belief system. You can command that to be released. And just like we did with that crucifixion prayer, when you were standing in the midst of the problem or the issue, begin to be willing to crucify it, let it go, and practice again that crucifixion piece. It's just like, I release and let go poverty. I release the need to experience poverty. And then what is it? I am so grateful that the flow of the divine is coming into my life right now. I am so grateful wealth and abundance is filling my life right now. And you begin that process of pulling in what you do want. And I love using your hands and your arms and your body, because we get the whole of our body temple involved in the manifestation. So if you have an issue, clean it up. And you can clean it up with prayer too. I like to use the crucifixion piece because I think it's just so powerful. So if you have fears, same thing. When I have a fear over something, what I know is that I've not got God in there. I haven't got the divine in there. What I have is a human experience in there. And what I know is my God is way bigger than any human. If I can manifest a mansion for cheap. I can manifest anything. So we speak to our souls. We speak to our souls and we remind our beingness that we live in an infinite expression of all that is. We just remind ourselves. All right. So I have some notes here I want to look at because I don't want to leave anything out. Oh, and in abundance, in the Bible, in John, I think it's chapter 10, verse 10, it talks about, I came that you may have life and you might have it more abundantly. That's like a promise. That's like a promise. And it's a beautiful promise to think about that. And this was something that Jesus said. I came that you may have life and that you might have it more abundantly. But the deal is you have to believe that. You get to believe that. You get to come into alignment with that. Okay. So let's work on my formula for prayer. You ready? So
yes.
Pen and paper is probably a good idea at this point, or just re-listen to this. So the first thing that I do, I recognize the power, the presence, the life of the divine. And how I do this is, like, I can look out and I can see the sky and the trees and the ground and the grass and the sofa and the chairs. And I'll go, oh my God, we live in an infinite universe of everything. You just look around and witness it. Look how many leaves are on the trees. Like, the trees are like in abundance, and there's so many trees, never mind just the trees, but all the trees and all the leaves. You begin to focus on the magnificence and the glory of creation. And sometimes it's easier for people to think about God in terms of creation, because sometimes people have a hard time saying God or even Jesus or any of those words. So, but don't worry about that, because those are just names man has given to creation. So if you think about God as creation, that like catapults you into realizing that is what God is. God is creation. God is, in the scriptures, it says God is love. That's all that God is love. So if we can focus on love, we can focus on creation. So that's the first step. You recognize the power, the presence of the life of the divine, or as creator. And then if you have an issue, like, let's just pick, you pick one for me, Daiga, and we'll work on that. How about that?
I think I pick, which is definitely my worst issue in my life, because I still haven't get over my blocks of not having enough money as much as I want to. Yeah, so I think many people would be allying with me for this issue as well. So let's go for this issue.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you want to get over the blocks of having enough.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So
not having enough, I think.
Of having enough what? Say it again.
Not get over of blocks not having enough.
Okay, so
money.
You want to get over the blocks. I would say you want to release the blocks. I'm gonna switch some of the words so that because getting over something is sounds like work to me. So when we release it, we're this isn't about manual labor,
which we don't like. No.
No. Consider the lilies of the field. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the contemplation of creation, is when you consider the lilies of the field, they do not toil and neither do they labor. So, and yet they are in all their glory. So if you look out at nature and you just see that, they did not do anything except exist to receive all that they needed to be glorified and gloriful and beautiful. Okay, so we're going to release the blocks. Okay, so let's talk about the word blocks. What is a block?
Something which is between myself and what I want.
Yes, it is. It's something between yourself and what you want. So that block, is it a physical block? Is it an emotional block? Is it a belief block? Is it an ancestral block?
I think in my case, it probably goes ancestral and really like mental and ancestral block.
Mental and visceral. Thank you. All right. If you could name this block, just think about the block. And you can even imagine it as a block. If you put your attention on that block and you could name it, what would it be called?
Lack of money, I think.
Thank you. This block called lack of money. Okay, so feel into that block, and how do you feel, and where are you feeling it?
I think it's feeling in my stomach, in my body, in my stomach. This feeling of I won't have enough to survive. I won't have enough to live my life how I want to live. I think that's the main block, which is, it's really more than block. It's like fear about not having.
Yep, that's what I wrote down. Fear of not having. Right? Because truly that's what it is. It's a fear of not having. Okay. So we have fear of not having. And that feeling that you have in your stomach, how does that make your whole body feel?
It makes everything, like, if I think about it, it makes like stress. I feel like tension in my body. I feel like stressful tension in my body if I think about it.
Great. So you become a stressful, tense resonator of not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So get that image in you. So, all right. So that's the current situation. If that wasn't true about you, how would you like not only the end result, but your body and that block? Let's talk about the block first. What would happen to that block if you had all that you needed, all the money you needed, that you did not have to work a job or any of that? What would happen to that block?
It just won't be there. It's just disappeared completely.
Block disappears. Okay. And then how would your stomach feel?
Light. All my body feels light. And now trying to imagine this, it feels much lighter, and I know that I have what I want, I have what I need, I am everything what I want and need is here for me. Yeah, so it feels much lighter.
It feels much lighter. So now, as you look at your body without any block, with this much feeling lighter feeling, tell me how your whole energy field looks, and how does your body feel when there's no block? You've released the fear, you're much lighter. Tell me who is Daiga? What is Daiga? What's her experience?
I very much now, when you're talking about all this, I remember that time when we done meditation and we activated all chakras. And I said, I feel like light up, like traffic lights in different colors, similar as traffic lights, light up, yeah, beautiful light body. And that's image what came to me just now, yeah.
Yes. So I love this. Okay, beautiful light body. So a being that's a beautiful light body with no blockages, what would their belief system be? What would they believe about Creator?
I can have everything I want and need. There is no limits to whatever I want to have. There is no any limits for me.
Beautiful. All right. So you feel the difference? So we'll compare and contrast here. You as a beautiful light body, and I bet just you thinking about the light body, you activated your chakra system, didn't you? That's all you have to do anymore, because once you've learned how to light up your energetic body, it's just turning on the switch at this point. So it's like you turned on the switch. Okay, you got the issue. Oh, I don't have enough. Oh, let me turn on my switch. Let me get back into alignment. Let me get back into my light body. Let me get back into being. So that light body is the your conduit, your connection to the divine, to Creator, right? And at the highest level. I may have said this before, but if you want toast, you know what toast is, right? Toast bread.
Yes. Yes.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, I know.
I love toast. Okay, so if you want toast, what do you need?
Bread, toaster. That's all I need, really.
Is that true?
What else I need? Electricity for toaster to work.
That's right. And you need the cord to plug into the source.
Yeah.
In order for the toaster to work. So you are the toaster. You are the toaster. And we want toast, right? So you got to plug in. And that's what that's what becoming the awakened light body is. That's your connection to the source. You're plugging in. And you got to plug in. If you're going to trust source to deliver to you, you got to plug into it. Otherwise, you're out in the world trying to create what you want to make happen. But we want to live from the consciousness that all is given to us. Everything divine is given to us. And trust that, because that's infinitely better than going out there and trying to make it happen yourself. So, but we got to do the internal work as opposed to doing the external work. You got to do the internal work first. You got to get plugged in. You got to be the toaster and you got to plug in. All right. So the steps that we're going to run through, I'm going to do prayer with you, and we're going to work on this specific issue. We're going to do a clearing on everything that you brought forward. So the steps are going to be: recognize the power and the presence of the life of Creator, which we'll do that. Then we're going to align with that. That's your I am. I am this. I am this life. I am Creator. I am. So we're going to move into the I am consciousness. And then we speak into that what you truly want, right? More than enough. You begin to align with that energy. And you'll see that as I do the prayer. Then after we do this, we just simply give thanks that it's already created. It's already done. And then the last step is the very hardest step for people to do, is to let go. To let go and trust the universe. So this step I would equate to if I had planted carrot seeds and I was expecting carrots. Would I go out every other day and try to pick at that to see if there were any carrots growing?
Of course not.
Right?
Mind you, recently I have planted grapes. Yeah, this spring I planted grapes, but I had delayed the planting. And one of these plants was nearly completely, I thought it's dead, really. I planted already what I thought is completely dead plant, yeah? And another was sort of life, but I wasn't really sure. And for some time, I really had this feeling I want to go and have a look. Is there any more roots coming out of it, or is there any life in them? Yeah, or maybe
right.
I will plant something else in this pot. That's why I laughed when you said check on this. Please, because I did this year. I did have this feeling that I need go and check what's going on there. And now I have two beautiful grape plants growing nicely, beautiful, because I didn't touch them. I just watered them, look after them. That's it.
Right. You had the faith. You almost did, and you had a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh, well, I planted it late. There's the belief system, right? Right.
Yeah.
You got all of this. Doesn't look like anything's happening. Probably it's dead. So those are all just those belief systems. But the truth was, you had planted that seed idea of grapes. And yes, it took a little bit longer, but sometimes that's what happens. But when you have faith that if you plant, like for me, carrots, we'll just say those, if I went and tried to pick out those carrots, I'd kill it. And that's what you would have done. If you would have gone digging at the roots, you may have killed the grape plant. So that's the let go is the hardest part in this. When you begin giving thanks and it's complete, you let it be complete. It just, when I say, and so it is, it's so. It's so. And then you just go about your business in joy and happiness, and just this knowing that it's already done. It's just already done. So with that, let's pray.
Let's pray.
Right. Let's pray. I wanted to tell you the meaning of prayer. What does prayer mean? It means to cast a net. Like a fisherman casts a net. So your words is your spell, is your energy, is life. We're speaking life into these ideas and these beliefs. We're speaking life into it. We're casting a net to go capture and bring into our 3D world from the ether unmanifest realm. We're bringing it into the manifest realm. All right. So we're going to begin. And I just invite everyone to get your feet on the floor. And we'll start with feeling the bottom of your feet. I'm in my body. Take a breath into that. And just come into your body. And at this point, I'm going to invite you to, if you feel like you're attached to something that happened before this time, or you're anticipating something happen after that, at this point, let that go. Let the past go, the future go, and just come to the present moment right now. Take a breath. Breathe into the present moment. And release and let go the past and the future. Just let it go. The past is over. The future hasn't happened yet. The future will be determined by what we do in this present moment. The future will be determined by what we do in this present moment. Take a breath into that. And let it go slowly. Anchoring that thought right here. And I invite you now to those who have been working with us for a while, just light up your energy body, chakra system turn on. Clap your hands. All chakras lit up. Your beautiful light body glowing. From the root chakra to the crown. From the earth chakra that is about 12 inches below your feet to the 13th chakra, which is unconditional love. Just command it all to be turned on. And just for a moment, just bask in what that feels like to have your energy body operational. Feel into the energy of that, to know that all your energy centers are working for you because you say so. You say it's true. You say they're open. And now, as you just simply bask into that awakening and opening of your whole energy body glowing, I now join in conscious union with the divine. I join my mind with the mind of God, with the mind of Creator. I join my mind because my mind, my beingness was conceived of in the mind of God first. I am a seed thought of the divine, of Source Creator. I am its precious seed. You are its precious seed. And where I say I am, let that be your I am. I am the divine seed of God, born in the mind of God. Breathed into the breath of God. created in the unconditional love of God. And as I am created in the mind of God, all is created in the mind of God. For the source and the substance is all that God is. God is the source and substance of all that has ever been, ever will be, and is right now. Creator creates. That's what it does. It creates. And so I place my mind and my thinking on creation. I think of all the creation I have ever witnessed, the beautiful clouds, the sky, the trees, the ground, the blades of grass, the mystery of the seeds that I plant in the ground becoming fruit and vine and goodness and nourishment. I participate in creation because I was created in the mind of Source Creator. I too am Source Creator creating. I am Creator, and I am in alignment with that. I'm in alignment with the full creation that God is. I dwell in that infinite realm of all that's possible. And as I do that, I just breathe and I give thanks for that knowing that all that has ever been created, all that will ever be created, is available for me right now. And so as I come into alignment with me as a creator, I release and I let go all energy, all fear, all blockages that are unlike creator. I release and let go fear, for fear dwells in the mind of men and ego, and we release that and we let that go. Take a breath in. I let that go. For that is not the mind of God. I release and let go all charged feelings in my body. I release and let that go. Take a breath in. I release and let go any ancestral patterns of not enough. I let that go. Take a breath in. Let it go. For your family, your lineage is not you. That was their experience, not yours. I release and I let go any and all thoughts that are not in alignment with plenty and goodness and money and good things. I release all the energy around not enoughness to this. Take a breath in. I release the need to have the experience of not enoughness. I release the need to be in alignment with my family of origin. I release the need to suffer. I release those needs. Take a breath in. Cleanse your body temple. Let it all go. I now declare and speak life into plenty. I speak life into more than enough. I speak life into creation, knowing that creation is now amplified in my life as goodness, as plenty, as more. I allow myself to now be in the flow of divine creation, and I release the temptation to be in the flow of man creation. I let that go and just put my energy and my thought on on the flow of the divine in my life, the flow of plenty into my life, the flow of the mystery into my life, the flow of good thoughts into my life, of plentiful thoughts into my life. I speak life into the expansion of good into my life. Take a breath in, expand that out. I speak life into the expansion, knowing that I have all that I require to live a life of light and love and joy and prosperity and goodness and health and all that the promises made. I have come to give you life, that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And so I dwell on the abundance of goodness. I allow all that abundance of goodness to just ring in every thought form I have, in my whole divine emotional body. I speak life of abundance and plenty of good into my life right now. Take a breath in. I imagine every moment of my life as abundance, as plenty, as goodness. For that is the truth of my being, for I am one with divine source creator. And source creator just wants to create here. And so we create with this consciousness. I'm so grateful for the consciousness of divine source creator. I am so grateful that I live the life of abundance. I live a life of free thought. I live a life of my feeling nature being in the state of joy and love and excitement for life. I speak life into my words. I'm so grateful that I know and I remember to speak life into my words. I speak life into my feeling nature. I speak life into my world. I speak the life of plenty. I speak the life of goodness. I speak the life of love into my world. My words are the energetic component of my divine feeling nature and my connectivity to source creator. And I know that I am one with source, and therefore I have all that I could ever desire. I have all that I could ever require to live here as love and light. And so in this deep gratitude for all that is given, for this deep gratitude for living a life in alignment with source creator, with love, with light, with plenty, in deep gratitude, I just thank you, God. I thank you, Source, for awakening my mind, my heart, my beingness. And for all that are listening here, I give thanks that this is translated and given to them as well. I give thanks for Daiga and her ability now to receive and experience and know plenty in all areas of her life, plenty of good. I give thanks. And I release my word now, for it is already done in Source Creator. It is done in God. It is done in the ethers. It is done. It is now made manifest. From the unmanifest, it is now made manifest in Daiga's life, in all the listeners' lives, in my life right now. Take a breath in. I release it and I let it go. Breathe out. And so it is. Amen.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think everybody who will watch our show will be extremely grateful for this. Another very, very strong prayer, what we learned today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome.
It was beautiful. I felt, I don't know, I can't even describe how I felt, but it was beautiful. Thank you, Morgan. Is there anything else you want to say to our viewers at this point?
Well, what can I say? May you speak life over your life and do it now. That's it.
On that note, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you from our hearts to yours. God bless. See you next week.